welcome back to more biased tier list. And I just finished the Millennium series of Godzilla, so I wanted to make my tier list of this. I've already done Showa and Heisei, so Millennium, and then the final. I guess I could do MonsterVerse, but might be a brief one because there's not many movies in Millennium. Now, Millennium was kind of more of the era that I remember. I watched a lot of Showa growing up. Heisei, I didn't know much about Heisei. Honestly, I feel like Heisei is a little bit slept on, but then again, I don't know how. I wasn't born in that time. Millennium was one that I kind of remembered more, a little bit. Like Godzilla, the first American Godzilla. I remember when that came out. It was like, and the marketing for that. There was a video some guy made whereby he talked about like the marketing for that movie was just insane. I mean, like they had a Taco Bell sponsorship. They had a shirt that like if you pressed it, it like roared. I mean, it was wild. And then I remember when 2000 came out. Shoot, I was like, this is crazy. In fact, it's funny. When I was younger, I thought 2000 was a sequel to the first American one, which technically, if you want to get technical, I guess the first American one does get canonized later on when Toho buys the rights for Zilla. So technically, yes. So I do include that one into this bundle. So let's go. First of all, and like I said, I'm biased. This is a biased list because I have nostalgia attached to a couple of these. So, first one, the first American Godzilla. I remember rewatching it, and first of all, it's a long movie. I feel like they did a lot. They were doing a lot in that movie. But I fairly, for the most part, I do like this movie. I like what they did with it. People always say it's not a great Godzilla movie, but it is a good kaiju movie. And it was one of my first introductions to Godzilla. Because I watched Showa, and then I remember this came out, and it's just a kid. I like big lizards, so I wasn't too, like, upset about what had happened. My young mind did not comprehend, and I'm still biased to this day. But if I'm all fairness, I'm going to give it a B. I think that's fair to say. I could go slightly higher just because for the nostalgic factor, but I think B. It's not the worst movie. There are a lot of things I did like about it and ideas, and then if you want to get technical, the animated series came afterwards, and that was fairly good. I had the Game Boy game, which I still have, and I played every now and then, and there's things I like about Zilla. If you read the comics, I do like what they kind of do with Zilla's character later. He's a little more scheming, I think. So there's that. 2000. Now, 2000. Honestly, it's an okay movie, but like I just remember like how like excited I was when I saw this movie, and there are a couple of little factors about this movie that do make me want to bump it up. So realistically, I would put it at a B, but because I'm biased today, I'm putting it at A, and I'll tell you why I put it at A. I remember the hype around this movie. If you watch like I believe it's like the American commercial for this movie, it is like the most edgiest 2000 thing ever. Like they got Rob Zombie's like Super Beast playing. It's like girl, to it, and then I liked Orca, right? One of my favorite kaijus, and then also like I guess not the villain, but like the human, like kind of more antagonist guy. One of the most like dopest characters ever. There's like a scene where like this little girl's like, "Don't blow up this building, like my father's in there," and he's like, well, I don't know how, I don't remember exactly how it is in like the sub versus dub, but I remember in the dub he just goes like, "I'll send flowers," and he just blows up the building. I'm like this, and then he like stares Godzilla in the face, is like smoking a cigarette, and is like, and he just yells at him. That goes out in style. Megaguirus, I'm gonna put you a C. I will say this, the designs of 2000 and Megaguirus, one of personally my favorite Godzilla designs. I love the purple spikiness and like just how he looks. It's just one of my favorite designs. Personally, I'm attached to that design. So Megaguirus, one thing I did like about Megaguirus, it was kind of wild, the storyline. Like it dealt with different dimensions and black holes, and it had a more of an aspect of like creepy bugs, that was kind of cool. But one thing I will say about the movie is like I think it does kind of solidify how strong Godzilla is. They make a gun that shoots a black hole, and like pretty much twice Godzilla tanks it. So that's wild. Like when people talk about like, oh, who can beat Godzilla? I'm like, the man like has like literally took a black hole being shot at him. Like, I don't think he's gonna die anytime soon, and if he does, he's gonna come back. GMK, S tier. I mean, there are things that I don't like about it, I'll be honest with you, but I have to put it S tier just because, first of all, I love how much of a menace Godzilla is in this movie. I mean, there's a lady, she's just chilling in the hospital, and like Godzilla misses her building, and she's like, "Oh, I'm saved," and then he comes back and just hits it out of nowhere. Also, the fact that like we got Baragon back, we had Mothra and King Ghidorah. It was weird that King Ghidorah was kind of a more good guy, but nonetheless. Also, one of my favorite designs is GMK. I love how Godzilla had this like little pot belly, you know, and the white eyes, just so menacing. Godzilla's like he's like the souls of the dead, like just live within him or something, and it's just, I don't know, GMK. I just like. It's more like I like the idea of GMK, and then also we got Baragon, you know, Rar. So got that. Against Mechagodzilla, I believe that's the one. Honestly, a solid movie. I think I'm gonna put you at A. You know, solid movie. You know, bringing back Mechagodzilla. Now, personally, if out of all the Mechagodzilla designs, I mean, if you want to include if Showa, Heisei, Monsterverse, or even like what city Mechagodzilla City, or Singular Point technically teases like Mechagodzilla. Kiryu is a great design. I personally, for me, my favorite is definitely Showa. I know I love that, how it looks. You know, I think to me that design peaked there, but I can recognize how much people love Kiryu's design. You know, just it looks more like an actual robotic, I guess, Godzilla. You know. More to him. The fact that he has like a cannon that shoots absolute zero freezing, that's wild. It was made from the bones of Godzilla. There's like a think tank where like, we gotta build this robot. I'm like, do we have to? But we do, right? That was fun. And I remember like during some of the anniversaries, they showed this one in Tokyo SS theaters, and I finally got to see it in the theaters, and that was really fun. You know, it was really cool to actually see that, because like most of these Millennium ones, especially like Tokyo SOS is one I remember, like in like the Mechagodzilla one and Final Wars. I remember renting them at the video store, you know, like Blockbuster and stuff, you know, and that's like one of the connections I remember having. So like Tokyo SOS with that one, I'm hovering between B and C. I think Against Mechagodzilla is much better than Tokyo SOS. We do get Mothra back, you know, but for the Mothra, I'm gonna put it at B. Mothra points. Just like I think Against Godzilla is a better movie. I liked a lot of the characters in Against Mechagodzilla more. You know, like the female lead, I thought she was like pretty cool. And it was a little dorky how that guy's just trying to get a date with her. But Tokyo SS, we got kind of a new guy. He's like an engineer, and he, you know, has like a relation to Mechagodzilla for some reason. I don't know why, but you know, Mothra points pretty much is why I enjoyed that one. I like how the little moth larvae. I always love when like the Mothra comes in and the little larvae. One of my favorites, just the essentials. You know, Mothra does her sacrifice and everything. And yeah, there's that. So yeah, it was cool, but I think Against Mechagodzilla is just a better, solid, more. The fat is more cut off that one. But Tokyo S has a dope name though. I remember as a kid, like Tokyo SOS. What movie is this about? Final Wars. Let's just get into that one real quick. I'm trying to make this video brief. But Final Wars, I just finished watching it last night. And so with that said, where do I put Final Wars? Because you know what? Just because of how big of this movie was, I'm putting Final S tiers. I think it could go lower, but it was for the 50th anniversary. I have this exact poster right here, you know, outside my room, and it just was a big deal. You know, it was the 50-year anniversary. I mean, like, this was like the end game, like Avengers, like level, like Godzilla movie. And if you watch all the movies leading up to this, it's incredible. Like this, in so many references. I mean, there's references to like even more than just Godzilla movies. I mean, there's references to like War of Gargantua. There's references to like the Atragon. Is that the movie? There's references to all these like other like Toho movies that all like culminated to get like people talk about how like big the MCU was, and I this is something I'll milk till the cows come home, of like how like a cinematic universe like Godzilla like created the cinematic universe. Like they all the Easter eggs and things they put in that movie were just more than from like Godzilla movies. They had a lot of different Toho movies came together for that movie, and these little references of like, oh, I know that from like the first Mothra movie or something like that, you know. So, or King Kong Escapes or whatever. But I mean, Baragon versus Frankenstein versus the world, whatever, you know. But like, yeah, like just Final Wars was just, it came all together. Now, if I remember correctly, I don't think Final Wars did well financially. And after Final Wars, that is when I remember. That's like, I remember when Finals War came out, and I saw it. And unfortunately, that was like when my peak of Godzilla-ness, like fandom, started as a young age. And then we got like the 10-year dry spell, and I remember it was a dark time for us Godzilla fans. It's a very dark time. So, with that said, like Final Wars was just, I mean, like, and honestly, for me, the human plot actually wasn't. It was not developed like, you know, drama wise, but I remember there was a lot of action because this is around the 2000s. You know, we just had The Matrix come out, so like, but I remember like the fight scenes with the humans, because the humans are mutants in that movie. If you don't remember, I forgot about that, but they are, and so I just remember like the fight scenes were pretty cool. The MMA fighter was in it, and he some of his lines are just like, yeah, I've been seeing those memes about like the indomitable human spirit memes, and it's just like, yeah, you messed with the wrong planet. Like, we got Godzilla. I mean, just having all like Anguirus makes a comeback. Hedorah, I forgot Hedora's in it for like 2 seconds. Ebra, Horror of the Deep, the sea monster. Come on now. So just with that said, like where it all led up to, I'm putting S tier. It's a. I mean, I think there's definitely better movies amongst us that I would watch more than this one, but overall, it's just. Like it's a love letter to like everything that came before that, and I can't believe we're like 20 years later. You know, we have you know, we're at 70 years, so we're at the 7-year mark. So crazy. Here's to more Godzilla movies. We're at 38, I believe, officially. I gotta go watch the last era of Godzilla movies and then make a tier list with that. You know, but I probably might make a MonsterVerse one. And thank you all for who've been watching some of my other videos, whether it's I've made a video about Knuckles, Planet of the Apes, and I've been growing a little bit, and I appreciate that. So, cheers. Juice out.
Zilla 2000. If you can't take the heat, run.